Hey, welcome to the Monica Sanford Show, a podcast where I talk to anyone I want about everything and anything we want to talk about. Find it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Reese Across America Radio, their Friday night lineup. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Also proud to announce that the show just won the Woman of the Year Podcast Host of the Year from Scarlet Magazine, and they are distributed from New Orleans, Louisiana to Panama City, Florida. So from their readers, thank you so much. So my co-host today, as always, is my husband, veteran retired Marine Lieutenant Colonel David Sanford. So we are rounding out our January 2025 health and wellness series with another amazing guest. And this couldn't be more perfect timing for her and for us. So thank her for coming on. This is Miss Teressa Ruspi. Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I mean, timing is truly perfect. So
I know we are about to tell everybody why.
Yes.
She is a former NFL cheerleader for guess who? The Philadelphia Eagles, and they are going to the Super Bowl as of yesterday. They won their game, so they are champions. So that's going to be a great game. What is that in 2 weeks? Super Bowl? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So please welcome again Teressa Ruspi. I have known her since probably about 2009 or so. I met her. She was married to a Marine, and we met on Camp Lejeune when we were stationed there. So I have stayed in contact with her through this lovely social media. And then she started so many businesses. Her story is so inspirational. So I wanted to get her on and talk about physical health, mental health, and well-being. Her TR Healthy Bites that I am hooked on. They're amazing. So we're going to talk about that. And just anything, her skincare, fitness, geez, girl, I thought I was busy, but you have all these businesses and 3 kids. And so she is from Pennsylvania, now living in Georgia. Her degree is in nutrition. So she is a certified nutritionist and master's in organizational business and management and nonprofit leadership. So she is executive director and co-founder with your twin sister, right? Twin sister, the LRJ Foundation, a mental health and wellness education nonprofit. So she's going to tell us how that started, why it started, and that is the inspiration. What's the inspiration behind that? And so we're going to kick it way back a little bit to get kicked off here and tell us all about you being an NFL cheerleader. How were you a cheerleader all through high school? And how did you get into that? How did you even go try out for it?
Yeah, I mean, crazy story. Still sometimes feel it's surreal. I even did that. It's just one of those situations where you just go and try it. Just go and do something that's been on your mind and just go for it because you never know what can happen. And that's one thing I always tell my daughters. So yeah, growing up, born and raised right outside of Scranton, Pennsylvania, family, huge Eagle fans. My dad is probably the biggest Eagles fan I've ever met in my life, literally from Crocs to head, from hat all the way through. He's decked out in Eagles all the time. So it's not hard to buy him a Christmas present because we know if we get him something Eagles, he's going to be happy. So just my whole life, and dance, gymnastics, cheerleading is just part of my world, track and field, always doing something athletic. So cheer and dance was really a strong suit of mine and something I've done in high school and then in college. And randomly, I just decided to say, hey, let me check out and see when these Eagles tryouts are for the cheerleaders. I was in my sophomore year of college at Marywood University up in Scranton, going for nutrition and dietetics. And it was around February, and we saw that there was a pre-camp clinic for cheerleaders that were interested. So I, send the message out to a few girls on my cheerleading team, the dance team at Marywood, and say, hey guys, who wants to come with me? I'm going to Philly to do this clinic to learn all about becoming a Philadelphia Eagles cheerleader, and tryouts are in April. So I got together 5 girls from the northeastern Pennsylvania area, and we just headed down. We didn't know what we were up against. We're just like, let's just go. So took a road trip down, went to the clinic, was completely overwhelmed. There was probably about 800 or so girls across the area from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, the whole tri-state area there for this clinic, just learning different dances and talking to the cheerleaders. And it was so overwhelming, but it's so exciting. And I knew I had to go back down. So really, I can't even explain it sometimes you just have that intuition about something and your gut feeling it wasn't a fear, but it was an excitement, a little bit of nervousness. Yeah. And I said, I'm just going to go try out. I'm just going to go for it. I mean,
So did all the girls try out that you
all
went?
of us, yep, all of us
Okay.
that tried out. We went on tried out, and long story short, rewinding forward, two of the girls, myself and another girl, Yasmin, actually end up making the team together. Could not believe it. Both from the same college. You know, they pick a nice diversity and variety of girls, height, you know, skin tones, ethnicities, dance abilities, personalities, a nice mix. Well, Yasmin is just gorgeous from Trinidad, and she was a very different look from me. So we luckily ended up making the team together. We were roommates together in Philly, and
So
you know,
how many girls tried out? I know you said
that
about
year
800. Was it like hundreds? Really? I
yeah,
mean,
there was
nobody?
684 girls that tried
Oh
out
my
that year. And even if you are a current cheerleader, you have to re-audition every single year. So your spot is not guaranteed. You do kind of have a little bit of an in if you kind of follow the rules and do what you're supposed to do and make, you know, yourself stand out like you're supposed to do for an Eagles cheerleader. So really they were taking 12 new cheerleaders, 12 rookies that year.
Oh, wow.
684 girls. I remember walking through Lincoln Financial Field and just seeing how massive it was and all these girls. And there was something inside of me that said, you're going to make this team. Like, I don't know what it was, but I was so determined and so excited. And it's just that confidence that I brought, showcasing myself and how much I wanted it. My talent was not nearly as good as some of these girls. I mean, we had girls from the
So is it more dance or
yes,
more cheering?
yes.
Is it more dance?
Philadelphia
Yeah.
School of Arts, they were just incredible dancers. I mean, they're going to college, you know, for
More
dance.
dance.
Incredible dancers. I mean, triple turns, and I'm like, what? I can't even do one. And they just were absolutely amazing. But they weren't just looking for just dance. They wanted a variety.
Yeah.
You know, speaking opportunities, going in front of crowds, making
Yeah,
your
the whole
appearances.
present.
The
Yeah.
whole presence. So I was very fortunate and very thankful. And I walked on and became a rookie cheerleader in 2005 as my
You only
first
had 12 slots available at
12
that
slots
time. Oh my
available,
God.
and then 12 girls rejoined from the previous year, giving us our full squad of 24.
Well,
So
do
it
you
was
still stay in
amazing.
contact with all the girls that you were on the team with or on
Yeah,
the squad
many of
with?
them. You know, what's really cool about that is they have like a NFL alumni association. So we have our own for the Philadelphia Eagles alumni. I mean, they're posting things right now in the chat, upcoming events that they have. You know, we're big supporters of autism. So we have a lot of fundraisers and things that go on. Being that I did move out of Pennsylvania and down to Georgia soon after I ended my career with the Eagles, it was a little hard to travel back up. A lot of events that happen are in the Philadelphia area. So I didn't get the chance and the opportunity to participate as much as I hoped, but still keeping in contact. And
Yeah.
ironically, 4 other girls ended up making their way to Atlanta. So we had our own little group of alumni cheerleaders down here that ended up getting together. So we had, you know, Crystal and Lindsay and Jeanette and then myself. And so we get together down here and several
So
times.
they keep the alumni involved in everything
They do.
as much as they can. Well, that's
They
cool.
really do. It's really neat. And then they have a whole NFL alumni in general. So we have alumni of cheerleaders from across the country for all different teams that come together and have different get-togethers and kind of events
Y'all
every
get
2
anything
years.
special? Do y'all get any kind of special perks that y'all were alumni, like special seats or?
Nope. No. You would think, right? You
Yeah,
would
tickets
really
to
think
the.
so. Even during the season, you get 4 tickets and that's it. But
Teresa,
it just,
I'm curious how cheerleading has changed since then. I'm guessing this was like the 80s and 90s, and did they put everybody on a scale? Like everybody had to weigh a certain amount, and
no.
like that kind of, I guess we call it chauvinism in the time. Is that changed? Is that how it was, or how is it different now?
Yeah, I mean, we never experienced any of that, you know, in 2005 when I was there, and even through the years, I think when you put yourself in a situation like this to be in front of a crowd and have the athletic ability that you need to do to keep up in your training and you're exercising so much. You know, health and nutrition was a very big part of our world and it was very important to everyone. So I think everyone kept in shape and kept fit. There's
But did
nothing
they
we
show you
ever
this
felt.
little uniform that says size 0 and says you have to fit into this? And
Yeah, you know, everyone got fitted to their own body sizes. You know,
Oh,
we had
good.
girls a
Okay.
little bit more full figured, some that were a little bit more naturally, just genetically slender, and it really and nothing really seemed to trigger any of those things, which is great. Never seemed to have any issues with that.
Well, that's how
So,
we're going to get
yeah.
into actually what you do now from that question, because that's a good segue. Thanks, Dave. Because I wanted to ask, so about the weigh-ins, because in Texas, this was 30, 40 years ago, I was on a dance team in Texas, and we had to weigh in every Friday.
Wow.
And if you didn't make weight, you couldn't dance Friday night, and you had to fit into this uniform, that type thing. So did cheerleading, did it lend itself on your squad and stuff to poor eating habits or healthier eating habits? And, how did you go from that into what you do now as far as, creating this whole health brand? But so what did you think about, segueing into what you do now? Did cheerleading help with that or kind of give you bad eating habits?
Yeah. No, I mean, my whole entire life since the age of 14, my parents would drop me off at the gym and I would start exercising my sister. I just became very interested about when eating food, what it did to our bodies, how it can either hurt us or heal us. And that's when I became very interested in my degree of going to school for nutrition and dietetics. So for me, it was maybe a little bit different because I always had a passion for health and fitness. So getting into the world of my degree, when I was cheering for the Eagles, I was also a manager at a fitness studio. I opened up Bally Total Fitness as a manager. I was a trainer. I was a personal trainer. I worked in South Philly for WIC, the Department of Nutrition. And I worked with women and children on healthy eating habits and new moms and postpartum moms and their health and nutrition. So for me, it's just been a part of me. It's been something that I've always held very strong to my being and put it out there to others to help them. So being that representation of health and wellness and appropriate eating, the right way to eat, making small changes in our lives and good choices, it was always a good representation for other people to, kind of replicate that and incorporate that into their lives, because I'm actually living what I'm doing and not just talking through it. Or it wasn't just a random change for me. It got more escalated. Like you're saying, it became more of an interest to me because we did have to wear a uniform out there, but it wasn't nothing that you wouldn't wear on the beach, right? It was the same type, something that you would wear, and the pressure and expectations
in front of 60,000 people, right?
Yeah. a lot of people, even the coldest games, like we have our zip ups on. It's like, do we wear those? Do we not wear those? Can we please wear those?
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, that seems like a natural progression for you. It's amazing. Everybody knows I do healthcare. So it is a lot of people, and especially cardiovascular health, everything you do has an impact on chronic diseases, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, things like that. And what you do so tell us about your TR Healthy Bites. I have tried them all. I am hooked on them. They are we're going to get into kind of specific all your products, but when you do all your home recipes, do you make everything yourself? You created them yourself, things like that. But these are not just a normal diet. I mean, I don't want to use the word diet. This is just, it seems like a natural progression for you, but you teaching people how to eat. Most people don't know what a macronutrient is or a good protein. I'll be teaching them. They have no idea what a chicken, fish, kind of proteins or carbs are, things like that. So tell us about TR Bites, what it is, how you started it, and what you do out of your kitchen and your recipes.
Yeah, that's been a journey for sure. And that really started because even back in the day of being a Philadelphia Eagles cheerleader and living on my own in my apartment or back at school, I always was the one to meal prep, make my food, take it with me to class, have my healthy snacks there. So I was always making something and bringing it with me. I hardly bought things out or things that were processed. I wanted to know what was in my food and what exactly I was eating, not just so for calorie counting or macro tracking and things like that. At times I would do that, at times I would not. But it started from that age way back then having children and going to sports. And my daughter is a competitive cheerleader and travel lacrosse teams. You're always on the go. So again, you can buy from concession stands and get what they have there, which is processed and not very healthy and nutritious for, athletes. Or I could have healthy options on hand that I know my kids are getting quality nutrition, ingredients that are going to give them endurance and strength during their workouts, not going to give them stomach issues, so they can get out there and perform the best they can. So I started making, peanut butter protein balls and healthy muffins to take on the road, long practices with us, and I'm having my own snacks here. And I thought, how many other students or parents would find this helpful to have better options to take with them to certain travel sports with their kids.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, I said, you know what, let me just go for it. Let me just take what I like doing for my own health and my own family. I would make some protein balls and take them to the gym, do some Spartan.
I'll tell you, those are my favorite. The peanut butter balls and the almond bars, the balls. Oh my God, amazing.
Yes, yes. I have like 3 of those a day before my workout. Just sustainable energy. I was dealing actually a couple years ago with some hypoglycemia. So my sugar would drop a lot, even though I would eat a little bit way in the morning. It wasn't enough. It wasn't the right food. So figuring out for everybody, what works for them. Some people say they don't like to eat on an empty stomach, or they don't like to work out, before they like to eat at, an empty stomach and work out. I have found I have a very short window to get a very good workout in. If I don't get a good workout in, then I may not get the chance the rest of the day because of my schedule. So if I have 45 minutes or an hour to work out, I want to maximize that time and get a very good workout, which means I have to be fueled beforehand to have sustainable energy. So I found by making the peanut butter protein balls, you're getting, complex carbs with the gluten-free oats. You're getting, quality healthy fats from the peanut butter, honey as far as the sugar source, which doesn't completely spike your sugar. The oats have fiber in it as well, so it's actually not spiking as well because the honey from the sugar in the honey and the fiber slowly metabolizes together, so it doesn't cause those spikes. So
that's why I love your stuff. Is that honey? I didn't know it was honey, but I can take it tastes sweet enough that you feel satisfied, and it doesn't taste like cardboard. I mean, it tastes like a good snack to add with the rest of your day. And I know for teachers, for healthcare, especially healthcare, I'm running around a 12-hour shift, and I would carry one of your bags with me with the balls in it, and just, it's super easy.
I love
and
that.
it lets you stay full.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I wanted, is to have exactly like you said. And I love that, Monica, because that's my whole goal. It makes me happy because if you're not snacking on that, what are you grabbing, and you may be grabbing something else because you have to, you're hungry, you're trying to get through your shift. And it's just something that's not satisfying your health goals, making you feel good, or it's, maybe putting you in, over your calories that you want for the day, but you're trying to just have something. And for me, that's kind of why I started TR Healthy Bites, and it really expanded so much from there, where it was really just the healthy energy bites and the protein muffins. A lot of people just like cookies, right? Who doesn't like a good cookie? So everyone's like, hey, when are you going to make some protein cookies? I was like, yeah, that may be, an item on the menu one day. And more people kept asking me. So I'm like, okay, I really want to create a good protein cookie. So I do create all my recipes. I'll take a standard recipe, and mine are gluten-free and protein added. So that's a little bit more science for that recipe. So I really had to figure out how to make it gluten-free, high protein, without it tasting like cardboard, having great texture, and really not tasting like it was a health food cookie, because there's enough of those on the market and people want a good tasting cookie. So it took a lot of trial and error and recipe after recipe, and I finally got it down. So the cookies are really starting to take off, and that makes me happy too, because someone like myself who works up very hard and I want to enjoy, a cookie, I don't feel bad that I'm getting, a 400 or 500 calorie cookie and just,
well, my favorite is the chocolate muffin. I literally have taken that to the first time I ordered it from you. I took it on a conference with me. So if I'm in a hotel room, I don't want to go downstairs. And when we travel, Dave will tell you, him and my son go downstairs and have a big breakfast and all that. I just have a protein bar, or now I have I throw you on the bus.
Makes you gonna tell I ate a hot dog at the Island Feist the other night.
Yes, he had a hot dog right beside me. I was like, oh my God.
Keep all that in house. Teressa, I'm here to ask dumb questions. So here's my dumb question.
Okay.
How is a protein in a Milky Way any different than a protein in chicken or in one of your delicious bars? How's it different?
Yes. Well, the protein source, it really comes down to the amount of amino acids that are the, protein builders. So you have amino acids that can make a complete protein. So even if you're just having chicken, people don't realize too, if you're just people think, oh, if I just have, some chicken, I'm getting all the protein I need. Well, really, you're not getting the complete protein, because although protein and chicken is great because say you get 25 grams per serving size, 0 fat, it's very lean. You're not getting the complete protein there because it's not paired with some other amino acids to make it a complete protein to be completely digested into your and absorbed into your body. So that's why you see a lot of pairing when you have like, rice and beans, right? If you're having, broccoli, chicken, and rice, there's a reason that there's a combination there because you have different proteins in different foods. And when you have them together, you get a complete protein. So that's why it's more beneficial. So of course, if you're having a natural derivative source of a meat source like chicken or beef or fish and having that protein, it's great. I say having
bars are better than a hot dog. What you're trying to tell me?
Absolutely not. But then if you're having a protein cookie, it's a great supplement. So it's a nice add-on. So my snacks are not meals. That's the thing. That's why they're called snacks and why they're called treats. Right. So if you're having a protein cookie, you should not be counting that as your meal because it's definitely not a meal.
I've had it. They're delicious. Believe me, I really enjoy them, and I do eat them before my workout. So here's my maybe not quite so dumb question, but the food pyramid is flipped upside down over the last 10 years. I think that's what Americans were told for the last, 50, 60 years. How has what we know about nutrition changed since you originally got your degree in nutrition?
There's so much change. Dave, that's such a great question. There's so much that's changed, and it really is based on people's lifestyles and what suits their needs, right? Everyone has their own health goals and health concerns. But what we have found out is that, it's not bad to eat butter. It's okay. If you have it every now and then, there's certain choices. Oils, should we use less of? Yes. Butter, that's fine. I use ghee butter a lot too when cooking, or even in my new oatmeal protein bars that I've made, and I use ghee. There's better sources. Eggs, absolutely amazing quality of protein, the vitamins and minerals that are inside of eggs to have with us. We think having less fats is healthier for us, and we're missing out a lot on omega-3s and healthy fats for us. It's just what type you have. So it's really opened up people's mind, and maybe even options and cooking ways and food choices where they don't have to feel so restricted. But we should be finding balance within all the food groups. And sometimes I even say throughout the day, I kind of balance what I do. Some meals I like to do a little bit less carbs. Some meals I like to do a little bit more. It just depends if I want before my workout, after my workout. It's just whatever fits my personal health goals. But
I will tell you too, and sorry to interrupt you. I had two guests on last year that were both one's a physician and one's chef, and they were really plant-based. Everything was, but they were telling me, just substitute one thing in your meal for something plant-based or healthier, beans or plant-based, things like that. And I started doing that, and that's a life changer just right there, just changing one item. They use a lot of black beans or, whatever they were using. But cottage cheese now, I have turned to cottage cheese for added protein on a lot of things. And I never in my life thought I would eat cottage cheese, but
it's a big trend right now too. You've probably seen lots of reels and things with recipes. I was just looking up one to make these bagels, and it included cottage cheese. And my daughters are really big into fitness and nutrition as well, especially my 15-year-old. And she sent me this recipe and something with cottage cheese in it. And then she was making some eggs the other morning before she went to the gym, and she puts a little bit of cottage cheese in with her eggs. It just gives it a great texture, and it's a hidden little secret. But sometimes if you go to different restaurants, they're already maybe using that. If you look in the back of Starbucks and their little egg bites, they're using cottage cheese within that to give it that fluffy, thick texture. So it's
now I'm hooked. And like you said, your daughter. I'm going to be sending my daughter some of your stuff to try because she lives in Boise, Idaho, but she does F45 and hot work. So she's working out all the time. Awesome. And just having these little, I love it that you call it healthy bites because that's what it is. It's super easy to carry around with you. And but I want to move on for a minute. We're going to come back to the healthy bites. But I want you to talk about your foundation a little bit, why it started, how you got it started, what do you do? Do you go around and do the educational presentations? What exactly do you do with your foundation? Because I love it, and it's so needed.
Thank you. Yeah. So the LRJ Foundation, co-founded with my twin sister, Carla, established in Pennsylvania. LRJ stands for Lou Ruspi Jr., which is our younger brother, who actually passed away by suicide in 2011. So it was an eye-opening experience, not just for our whole family, but the whole community. Now, you're talking about a young man, 26 years old. We were 28 at the time, that had a smile, from here to California, and can just light up a room. And he did deal with some depression and anxiety going through his teenage years, started in, late middle school, and got, just like any teenager, goes through a lot of hardships and difficulty and struggles. I didn't quite experience some of that, so I couldn't quite understand. He did go get some therapy, was taking some medication, but then kind of teetered off of it and was on and off and just wasn't quite finding what he needed, or it was maybe a little bit ignored, or not thinking it was maybe as serious as it was. And, he just ended up becoming very overwhelmed and not talking about his struggles openly, honestly, and it ended up literally killing him. I look back now and think how preventable this was, and it truly is. Suicide is preventable. Mental health and depression, as you know, it's very serious. Some people have to be on medication, intense therapy. Some may need something to take the edge off. Some may just be able to use coping skills and just talk to someone and get through their day and challenges. There's so much that is involved with mental health, and even nutrition. I find too, taking care of our nutrition has a lot to deal with our gut health, our brain activity. So there's so
Definitely, because it does help with just your energy, your motivation, but what does your foundation do, like on a daily? What the foundation of your foundation? I mean, does it go out, and when you say education, do you do the preventative? Do you bring mental health counselors with you, or what do you do?
So we're an interactive educational organization that does mental health education presentations in schools. That is our foundation, is to bring positive mental health and education on the prevention side and intervention side to schools. So we started off just in high schools, we expanded to middle schools, and we even have tailored our program down to elementary because it's needed. Oh, wow. That's how much it's needed over the past 5 years. But we started in Pennsylvania, served over 125 schools, 70,000 students that we've educated over the last 13 years. We've expanded down to Georgia, and we work with the school district in Virginia as well. And it literally has been the most amazing thing to see, to go into these schools, classrooms, auditorium, and we contract with licensed mental health professionals, so people that really understand this. So if they're not seeing clients on a daily basis, they're out in the field with us doing educational presentations. So they really have worked with clients for years and understand the in-depth of mental health and talking about it and how to talk about it the right way and answer those hard questions. And we make it fun for these kids. We're laughing on stage, we're doing some games, we're getting them involved, we're showing them the differences and what it feels like and looks like and how to reach out for help and what resources are available. And we do this big movement every September, which is Wear Yellow Day. And our slogan is better than yesterday. So it's all about what we can do better today than we did yesterday. And that really is in all areas of our life. And it really comes down to a mindset. It comes down to the way we think, the way we act, the way we feel. And if people can just change those small habits, like we were talking about before, make different choices, do different behaviors, maybe the outcome can be better. And that's what mental health is all about, is those small steps every day. Even for those that really struggle really, really hard, if it's just waking up today, that's a good day, then you've accomplished that, success.
So are you doing just kids right now? Just like
we
high school
do
and down?
community as well. So we partner with the community. So down here in Georgia, we partner with the city of Milton, Georgia, and we do community initiatives with them all September long. We do educational posts. We host a seminar. We connect with the community. We also did workplace wellness as well. So It's open to, we do teacher education. So in Pennsylvania, for example, teachers have to get a select amount of hours for continuing education credits, for suicide prevention training.
To healthcare places.
Yeah.
A lot of healthcare
Exactly.
people getting burnout, and especially during COVID. But do you do any military around even Georgia, or?
We haven't done military. We've done one presentation actually before with the previous organization, Hire Heroes USA. But I mean, it's obviously open to anyone. We would love to connect with that community as well. We have great counselors and presenters that just care, and we want to share the education and support and just have the conversation.
Then to go back to kind of nutrition, then do you teach the kids, or when you do the presentation, do you also tell them how important nutrition is in that entire mental health?
We talk about lifestyle, and that's a huge thing. And it's a great point to bring up because we talk about food choices, we talk about sleep, and we're talking about their study habits, about procrastination. It's really a lifestyle, and that's, for me, is the mindset I like to bring for mental health. And it's not always have to be heavy, or it doesn't always have to be hard stuff to talk about. It's lifestyle changes. And if we start making those, you see improvements in your health. Just like you see improvements, you go to the gym long enough and consistent enough, you're going to see changes, right? If you start focusing on a better mood, better thoughts, surround yourself with more positive people, you're going to start seeing a change in your well-being. So it really just is a whole lifestyle movement that LRJ Foundation really just, supports.
It is.
I
And
think
I can tell
there with the lifestyle piece. Actually, I have my I see my counselor tomorrow at 8:00. I go regularly, and it reminds me, you talk about lifestyle. When we were in Camp Lejeune, and Monica, as you know, she had club jujitsu, and once a week, I believe it was Wednesdays, we would have Marines from the Wounded Warrior Barracks. Most of those, they had brain issues, and they would come over and they'd work out, and they would just get totally exhausted. You see those guys the next time, and they said, I was so good for 24 hours because I was so exhausted I couldn't think about all my issues. So absolutely, if you could just get people to get off the couch and get out and work out in that healthy lifestyle. It's sort of like the Deion Sanders thing, he says, you look good, you play good, they pay you good. So the more you can do to just get out there and get active and feel good about yourself without thinking about yourself constantly, because it's easy to get into a pity party. I didn't mean it that way, but you know what I'm saying. The more you focus on yourself, and inside your head, it's an ugly place in there sometimes.
Well, like your lifestyle that you teach, it is. I know when I work out and eat right, I feel better. So that's just, I'm glad that you teach that in. But one more question about mental health, and then we're going to move on back to. So you teaching children, did you find your brother? Is that the root of kind of the mental health, where he, back when he was in high school or something like that, and then he could just never, get out of that mindset that word you use, that mindset? Why do you just do kids?
Yeah, exactly. And that's where we found is we tried to trace back to see when the root problems started, middle school with bullying, dealing with the stress of life, just growing up, right? And the challenges, he couldn't handle some things, maybe compared to how I was maybe handling them. Everyone's different, so they handle things differently, of course, but to be able to then, maybe adapt, it was always a little bit more of a challenge, or become a little bit more of a stressor. He did develop depression, so that was, added on top of that, and how to manage that and work through that with growing up and trying to be just a teenage boy, and and being proud and I'm good, nothing's wrong with me, right? Just the normal man mentality, trying to hold it all together when really inside he's falling apart. And it just was, that's what crushes me and kills me on the inside. But we traced it back to realizing that if we can catch some of these problems early in their teenage years, early middle school, if not sooner, just understanding when we have these feelings inside, things are not making us feel good, high emotions, stressors, what do we do about it? We don't ignore them. How can we
cope with them,
accept them? How can we find solutions for them? How can we reach out without shame and ask for help, or go to your friends and share something and talk about things together, because you know what, they're going to have a hard day one day too, or they're probably having it right now. You don't even know about it. We all go through the same stuff. It just looks a little bit different. So we let these kids know that life is going to get harder. So let's learn how to cope with it now, because guess what? You're going to have to learn to cope through life for the rest of your life, because truth be told is we have more hard days than we have good days, right?
Yeah. And I love that, just because I see veterans for the VA and I still hear that, especially Marines. They just don't want to talk about it. Don't want, they push down, memories, or they push down feelings. And I'm like, go, of course, if you're listening to this, go talk to your mental health provider. This is not for medical advice, but go check out her foundation, check out your mental health provider, definitely.
Yeah.
But
and my
I wanted to
say that too is because it's okay if they feel like they can't talk about it, but we know sometimes people are listening, right? That's what we notice in the crowd. Like, we could look out and we see all these students, and you can pick a couple, like, okay, they may not be saying anything right now, but we know that they're listening. So this really hits them hard. So if we can give them all the great stuff and they're just there to hear it, then they can do what they wish.
Yeah, if you reach one out of that whole crowd of kids, I love it. So thank you for doing all that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
But I wanted to get back to, because I wanted to ask a question. How do you feel about, and this is completely back to nutrition, about kind of the Mediterranean diets, the keto diets, the diets that are either so exclusive of some things, or just so, they concentrate on eating one thing and one thing only type thing.
Caveman diet, all meat all day.
Yeah. So what do you think about those? To me, it's not super sustainable, but I want your thoughts.
Yeah. And that's just the greatest word ever. I mean, you have to eat something that you feel is sustainable, that you can say travel to another country, travel to a different state, and you're like, oh gosh, what am I going to eat? Like, you can't live like that. I mean, is that doable? Does that make sense? I don't think there's, many things wrong with some of these diets. Obviously the Mediterranean diet is the most popular. It's the most accepted or chosen by people, and I think it's fantastic. There's so many benefits to it, the omega-3 fatty acids, and you're having your fish and the fruits and vegetables, and it's very antioxidant based type diet, which is fantastic. Whole grains, like I was saying before, even myself, I don't mind every now and then having a keto lunch, for example, a keto snack, but it's not going to be my entire day for weeks on, weeks off. Like, I am literally robbing myself of some very vital nutrients. It's not good for hormone balance either, that you're shocking yourself with missing out on certain key vitamins and minerals and fats, for example, especially for women. And, we really have to be careful of that. So one, you want to do something that you can just find joy every day. Eat the foods that you like. Maybe there's some foods you have to restrict. Maybe certain diets that people do choose Mediterranean, maybe their cholesterol levels are high, so they have to watch certain type of foods. That's understandable. But if you want to play around with some different diets or food choices, I think a meal, swapping it out for a certain snack, makes sense. But to go days on, days out, or the fasting, it's really it's not sustainable. And then you just really start to kind of bounce back. Your body is going to be feeling deprived, and it's going to shut down. So it's going to maybe start storing fat, right? Yeah, David.
You said fasting. Fasting is the big thing now. Like, everybody's on the fasting. What do you think about fasting?
So, I tell people to do the research and talk to their physician. There's research out there that says a minimum of 12 hours gives your body amazing benefits. So if you choose to do more than that, what actually are you trying to accomplish? What's the benefits you feel that are deserved for your body, or that you're trying to reach? And does it actually work? Is it actually work? There's a lot of studies out there. There's a lot of people that say, of course, if you're going to go fasting for 18, 24 hours or a couple of days, and he's like, oh, I lost 5 pounds. Well, yeah, you just starved yourself for 3 days. Of course, you're going to lose some weight. But then afterwards, how are you bouncing back from that? They even say there's a slow transition period to come back. You should have certain type of drinks to slowly ease back into you, so you don't feel bloated right after, fasting for days. David, I'm guessing you're asking that because do you like fasting?
I like the 12 hours.
Yes, I do too. I do too. It's
Well, yeah,
doable, right? It's doable.
the doable thing. Even the two guests I had on last time, one of them's my neighbor. I love them both. I work with them all the time. But yeah, the whole plant-based, every single meal, every single day, to me, it's just not. I can't. But I try to, incorporate some of that. So I incorporate a lot of these different diets and the fasting and things. And your healthy bites. So we have just about a minute left here. I want you to, if you want to talk about your skincare in a few seconds, because I think that's a new line for you. I didn't know that. I just learned that.
Yeah, it's actually,
and-
it's not my line. It's just a new brand I've been using, but
Gotcha.
talking about lifestyle and health choices, this year I've been focusing on getting more sleep and finding more organic, natural skincare. It never really just was a focus of mine, right? So again, small changes, small steps, excuse me. And that's one thing I've been focusing on. So again, finding things that are homemade, natural. A woman in my area, she makes this organic skincare. It's called Reconnect. She ships nationwide. And literally when I put it on my face, I smell like herbs. I smell like nature. I smell like natural. There's no like alcohol smell, chemical smell. I mean, it feels so good. And I have to say, I just have been finding amazing results for it. So for me, again, just the foods I'm choosing, the environments I'm surrounding myself in, the products I'm using on my skin. If we just keep it simple, basic, and natural, it's a home run.
Well, send me her link too. I'll put that up there.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I saw you holding it up. I'm like, is she doing skincare too? Oh my gosh.
I'm not adding anything else to my plate.
I know. So tell our listeners all your social media or your website or where they can find the TR Healthy Bites. I'm going to put the link on it too, but tell whatever you want to, any social media you want to say, where can they contact you?
Awesome. Yeah. So my social media is just my name at Teressa Ruspi. TR Healthy Bites is where you can find our healthy goodies. And our website is trhealthybites.com. I do ship nationwide and would love to spread these all over the country and have people try some gluten-free protein snacks. Our organization, lrjfoundation.com. You can learn more about mental health, how to bring a presentation maybe to your school, even a virtual environment, like you mentioned, for health care places, workplaces. Just these small steps, daily changes, good mindset. Appreciate allowing me the time to share this stuff. So thank you so much.
No, this was amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. It was good to touch base with you again. And of course, go Eagles. We're all for it.
Eagles.
So thank you so much. And everybody, thank you for listening to the Monica Sanford Show. And stay tuned for the next episode.